You can buy a great home in Sacramento or one of the surrounding suburbs, but still hate your life 6 months later. Not because Lincoln or Rancho or El Dorado Hills are bad either. It's because every one of these areas has a hidden catch that online looks really tiny, but it is massive once you actually live there. Zillow is great at showing countertops, but pretty terrible when it comes to showing them. This video is for you if you're moving or relocating to Sacramento from maybe out of state or the Bay Area or Southern California, or even anywhere in Northern California. And you're comparing areas like Roseville or Rockland or Folsom, El Dorado Hills, Rancho Cordova, Granite Bay, or any other suburb around Sacramento. Because here's the truth. Most buyers don't choose a bad suburb. They choose the wrong version of a good suburb. And the worst part, these are all excellent places to live, which is exactly why the trap is so easy. So today I'm breaking down 5 Sacramento area suburbs that out-of-town buyers should absolutely not move to until they understand the catch. And make sure you stick around to the end because the last one may be the most tempting value play on the list, but it has one little trade-off that could eat your entire week alive. I'm Reese, and I help people moving to and relocating to the greater Sacramento area figure out exactly where they want to live based on their lifestyle, their budget, and their needs. So before you buy a Zillow fantasy with the commute attached, just reach out. All the contact information is in the description below. I'll help you pressure test the area before you make a very expensive guess. And if you like this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe. It tells YouTube, hey, show this to more people before they accidentally buy a traffic pattern with quartz countertops. Now here's the big idea before we get into the 5 suburbs. Sacramento is not one simple market. It's a collection of lifestyle pockets. The street matters. The side of town you choose, that really matters. Freeway access, that matters. Tax structure, it's important. The insurance, the commute, they both matter. And sometimes just a block or two can change the entire ownership experience. Zillow shows you the house, but it doesn't show you the inconveniences attached to it. Out-of-state buyers really get blindsided because everything looks great online. The home looks close to shopping, commute looks manageable on the map, the school ratings all look good, the new construction looks clean, and the views, beautiful. And the prices look doable. But then real life shows up with steel-toed boots and a clipboard. A house can be beautiful, but still be wrong for your actual need. That's why you shouldn't be asking if this is a good suburb. That question is too lazy. The right question is it the right suburb, the right pocket, the right commute, the right payment, and is it the right daily life for me? Now, by the end of this video, you'll know which of these 5 areas may still actually be a good fit and which you might want to take a second trip through before you actually write an offer. Now, before anyone panics, Roseville right here is one of the strongest areas in the Sacramento region. And that's exactly why this trap is so dangerous. Because Roseville has the reputation. Shopping, parks, restaurants, Galleria, fountains, Costco, family neighborhoods, new construction, and good solid resale. And yes, many people move here and they love it. But the first trap is assuming that Roseville is just one simple decision. It is not. Roseville is basically 3 different conversations wearing the same city. You have East, West, and Central Roseville, all with their own personalities. And if you're relocating with kids, one of the biggest mistakes you can make is to assume that when you move to Roseville, you're automatically getting the school you think you are. If schools matter to you, don't just trust the listing. And don't just trust some school rating website. And definitely don't trust some random person in a Facebook group that leaves a comment and clearly has some kind of a Zillow addiction. Call the district, verify the address, and ask about the boundaries and the capacity and if those boundaries might be possibly changing in the future, because that happens. Roseville is not one school decision. It's more of a street-by-street homework assignment. Now, the second Roseville trap is freeway access. Now, West Roseville has a lot of beautiful newer homes, but depending on where you buy, it may take a lot longer than you actually think to hit Highway 65 or Highway 80. But if you work from home or nearby, or you really want that master plan lifestyle, then it may be a really good fit for you. But if you're commuting to Sacramento or downtown Sac or across the region, make sure you actually test the drive at that ugly time, not Sunday morning. And not when you're on a scouting trip and everything feels like a vacation. Test it on Tuesday morning, everybody's angry and honking and holding on to a cup of coffee for survival. Because a house that's only 20 minutes away has lied to many good people. And one more thing, certain northern and western areas in and around Roseville are close enough to landfill and certain industrial adjacent areas that sensitive buyers should pay attention to. Now, I'm not saying it's a deal breaker. I'm just saying it's there. I'm just saying don't pretend it doesn't exist. Drive the area at different times, on different days with different wind conditions if possible. And that way you can pay attention to the smell and the noise and the traffic and everything that's all around you. Roseville can be fantastic, but don't just buy it as a brand. Buy the specific pocket of Roseville that fits your actual life. And if Roseville is the trap that people often miss just because the reputation is so strong, the next area is one that buyers either dismiss too quickly or overhype it too fast, and both can cost you. Rancho Cordova might be one of the most misunderstood areas in this entire Sacramento region. Some buyers hear Rancho Cordova and they just think, older homes, business parks, commercial corridors, Highway 50, and really just the more established side of town. And other buyers are looking for newer development further south, where they find newer homes, more square footage, and potentially better value than, say, Folsom or Roseville or Elk Grove or some other higher priced area. And both can be true, and that's the trap. The newer parts of Rancho Cordova can be a smart move for the right buyer. You may get newer homes, more house for your money, you'd be near growth, you'd have an upside. But here's the question: are you comfortable being early? Because when you're driving into some of these newer areas, the approach may not be polished suburb feel yet. You may pass commercial areas, industrial zones, open land, and roads and streets with homes that don't really match those new model home photos you saw on them. And this is where Zillow is sneaky. It does not show the driving. Zillow sells the fantasy, your calendar pays for the areas. Now let's talk schools. Some newer Rancho Cordova areas may connect into different school districts. And some buyers get a little excited when they hear particular district names. But you gotta verify the actual school assignments. Look at the drive times and whether the school setup actually fits your lifestyle today, and not just what the community may become later. The third thing is nearby uses. Depending on where you are, you may want to consider landfill proximity, airport proximity, commercial industrial corridors, and how that area feels at different times of the day. Again, not deal breakers for everyone, but they can be deal breakers for some. And that is the whole point. Rancho Cordova is not bad. It's just specific. If you need the neighborhood to feel finished on day one, don't buy a promise with a floor plan. Rancho can work beautifully for the buyer that really wants value or newness and potential upside. But it may frustrate the buyer that wants the whole lifestyle to feel assembled the day they move. Now, the next one is where buyers fall in love fast. Views, hills, beautiful homes, prestige, and then the insurance quote walks into the room wearing brass knuckles. El Dorado Hills is one of those places that makes relocation buyers go, oh, okay, I get it. Beautiful homes, rolling hills, views, gated communities, great curb appeal, and access to Folsom, and Highway 50, and Lake Tahoe, wineries, outdoor lifestyle, and that elevated suburban feel. El Dorado Hills has main character energy, but that lifestyle, it comes with fine print. The first El Dorado Hills trap is going to be insurance. Parts of El Dorado Hills and other foothill style areas, insurance is not one of those things that you check near the end. It needs to be part of the earlier conversation. Because depending on the property location, the fire risk profile, and carrier availability, that insurance quote can materially affect affordability. You may be dealing with higher premiums, fewer carrier options, and you may need to discuss the dreaded California FAIR plan. Big hint, it does not feel fair. Now, not always and not every house, but it comes up often enough that you should not ignore. If insurance is an afterthought in the foothills, your budget may be the punchline. Now, the second trap is utilities and county differences. El Dorado Hills is in El Dorado County, and depending on the home, your setup may be different from areas, say, like Folsom. And your utility setup may be different than what most buyers expect when they're comparing those in areas like Sacramento County and Folsom, let's say. And that can really matter. Not always enough to kill the deal, but it's enough that you need to understand before you buy it. And the third issue or trap is going to be HOA culture. Many El Dorado Hills communities are beautifully maintained, and that's part of the appeal. But clean and polished, higher end neighborhoods, often come with rules and dues and architectural guidelines, and sometimes gated community expectations. And some people love that, and others, they hate it with the passion of a man trying to assemble IKEA furniture without instructions. Neither person is wrong, but you really need to know which one you are. And lastly, in El Dorado Hills, there's wildlife and terrain. Deer, turkeys, coyotes, snakes, occasional mountain lion, hillside lots, defensible space needs, yard maintenance, fire awareness. That can all come with the territory. Not scary, well, except maybe the mountain lion, but very real. El Dorado Hills is gorgeous, but gorgeous still has fine print. Perfect for that buyer that wants beauty and prestige, views and space, and foothill lifestyle. But it may really frustrate the buyer that wants predictable costs, flatter lots, fewer rules, and simple maintenance. Before you fall in love with the view, run the full lifestyle map. Insurance, utilities, HOAs, commute, terrain, and maintenance. And while El Dorado Hills can really surprise buyers with the insurance costs, this next area surprises buyers with something a little more subtle. The addresses may look familiar, but the payments can be completely different. Folsom is one of the most requested suburbs in this entire Sacramento region. And believe me, I get it. Access and trails and shopping and restaurants. Historic Folsom, strong reputation. It's got really strong resale. It's family friendly, has an outdoor lifestyle, plus that really polished suburb feel. Folsom checks a lot of boxes, which is exactly why buyers sometimes don't ask enough questions. The most dangerous areas are not always the bad ones. Sometimes they're the most popular areas that people stop questioning. The Folsom trap is not whether it's good. Folsom is good. In fact, it's great for a lot of people. The trap is assuming that every version of Folsom has the same cost structure. The older established Folsom, especially north of Highway 50, can be a very different ownership experience. Newer areas south of 50. And we're talking Folsom Ranch and nearby newer development. This is where buyers get themselves in trouble. They'll compare one $850,000 home in Folsom with another $850,000 home in another part of Folsom and expect like the same payment and cost structure. They think they're comparing equals, but that may not be. That list price is not the payment. That payment includes taxes and special assessments and insurance and HOAs and Mello-Roos and solar and utilities. And let's not forget about maintenance. List price is the head. The payment is where the plot twist lives. In the newer areas, those special assessments and the Mello-Roos can significantly increase your payments. And sometimes buyers don't feel the full weight of that until they really compare them side by side. A lower maintenance newer home can still make sense. That builder incentive, it might still make some sense. And a newer community can absolutely be worth. But you really need to run the whole number, not just a pretty number. The second Folsom trap is going to be traffic flow, especially around newer growth areas. East Bidwell, Highway 50 access, shopping, Costco, schools, and that whole in and out daily life pattern. Folsom does have a lot going for it, but love does not remove bottlenecks. Beautiful suburbs still have ugly traffic patterns. Folsom may be perfect for you if you want like outdoor lifestyle, strong resale, trails and lake access, and that really polished suburb feel. But if you're payment sensitive, tax sensitive, or you might be assuming that all of Folsom carries the same ownership costs, slow down. Make sure you run the numbers, drive the traffic, and make sure you compare both the north and the south side of it. And don't let the address do all the thinking for you. Now this final one is the value play that all buyers want to love. And for the right person, it can be absolutely fantastic. But if you get this wrong, your payment might look better while your calendar gets mugged. On paper, Lincoln makes a ton of sense. Newer homes, more space, a little more small town feel, close enough to Roseville and Rockland for shopping and services, growing amenities, golf communities, master plan neighborhoods, and you get more house for the money compared to like Roseville, Rockland, Folsom, Granite Bay, El Dorado Hills. But the trap is simple. Lincoln can save you money, but it will spend your time. If you work from home or nearby, or you're retired, or your life is mostly built around, Lincoln, Roseville, Rockland, Placer County area, well, then Lincoln makes a lot of sense. But if you're going to be commuting down 65 and 80 into downtown Sacramento or across the region every day, you really need to test that drive. Not guess, but test it. And at the ugly times, because Highway 65 can get really frustrating. And it's not always just one little neat rush hour problem. Sometimes, some days, it really feels like a parking lot that just got ambitions. What I'm saying is don't buy a cheaper house and accidentally finance a commute that you hate. Because trust me, Google Maps is lying to you. Another thing to understand is that Lincoln has different pockets. Some feel more established, others feel newer. Some are really close to amenities and others are further out. And some of the newer areas may actually be closer to the local airport. And while it's not a huge commercial airport, that plane noise can matter to some buyers. And maybe you don't care. Maybe you hardly notice. Or maybe it drives you insane and you start tracking flight patterns like you're a retired detective. The point is not to assume. You need to check. Now, Lincoln is not a bad choice, but it is a lifestyle choice. It can be excellent for the buyer that wants newer homes, more breathing room, and a little more distance from that heavier Sacramento feel. But it could be fairly frustrating for the buyer that wants short commutes, instant convenience, and easy access to everything. The map may say Lincoln is close, but your calendar and the time you spend in your car might disagree. So here's the best way to think about these 5 areas. Roseville is great if you want suburban convenience, shopping, parks, and strong regional demand. But you need to verify the pocket, the specific address, and the school boundaries, along with the freeway access and how often you're going to need it. Rancho Cordova can be a really smart value play if you want newer homes and built-in upside. But you need to be able to feel comfortable with the access and nearby uses and that still developing feel. El Dorado Hills can be amazing if you want the views, beauty, foothill lifestyle, and those really higher-end communities. But you really need to check the insurance and the HOAs, utilities, terrain, and possibly the biggest buyer-related considerations. Folsom, one of the strongest suburbs in the region. But you really need to understand the difference between older and newer Folsom, especially the newer Folsom Ranch and nearby new development, with a close look at taxes and special assessments and Mello-Roos and HOA fees and traffic. None of these areas are bad. In fact, they're all great for the right person, but they can all be wrong for the wrong person. The best suburb is not universal, it's personal. And if you're moving or relocating, this is where good strategy matters. You're not just buying a house, you're buying a commute, school setup, a tax bill, an insurance profile, a utility structure, a lifestyle, a resale story, and a daily routine. If you only shop the house, you're missing half the purchase. Bottom line, if you're moving to Sacramento or its surrounding areas from out of state or the Bay Area, Southern California, or anywhere else for that matter, don't choose a place based on internet hype or Zillow photos, school headlines, or what your cousin's coworker said after visiting one time in 2019. The Sacramento area is too specific for that. The suburb matters. The street, the school boundaries, the tax structure, insurance, freeway access, and which version of the suburb, that all matters. The happiest buyers don't just pick a house. They pressure test the life that's attached to it. And if you're watching this thinking, man, I'm even more confused, well, good. That means you're asking better questions. Confusion before buying is fixable. Regret after closing, much more expensive. If you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere around Sacramento, Roseville, Rockland, Lincoln, Granite Bay, El Dorado Hills, Folsom, Fair Oaks, Carmichael, anywhere in Northern California for that matter, just reach out. Call me, text me, send me that Zillow link you keep staring at like it owes you money. I'll help you figure out whether it's a good fit, if it fits your life, your budget, your goals, and your plan, or if it's just a really pretty expensive mistake with great lighting. And sellers, this matters for you too, because buyers are sitting back and they're comparing your home against new construction, commute patterns, school boundaries, payment differences, and lifestyle fit. If your marketing doesn't explain why your home makes sense, buyers may skip it entirely before they ever understand it. So before you buy blind or sell lazy, let's talk. Ready to stop scrolling and start making moves? Let's make it happen. Also, comment below where you're moving from. I'm curious. And if you haven't already, don't forget to smash those like and subscribe buttons. I'll see you on the next one. That's a wrap.